Someone at a lens to their clinical trial about
There's a marksman, obsidian arson, wait and pray. But damn, I am a different man. Sweet grass on the dash, big man's creative plan.
What's this? Oh, it's a gallery.
No idea. Like I can't say, but I can.
Yeah, so she might be looking at the thing and like standing. Oh, yeah.
Getting some messages on the lines.
We're gonna start Leave it up to us. We all figure it out.
On the Canadian side, it's always been, yeah. They could accommodate 500 people, and actually the first several years were all on the Canadian side. Yeah. Then they outgrew it, so they had to be they could do that. Yeah, sometimes they can't get everyone in the banquet.
What? Yeah. Put me at it. Our other people.
Between you.
I've been on cameras before, right? Probably when I was executive director, training.
Hello, can you all hear me? Good. All right, if you can just take your seat here, we'll get started. All right. Now the pressure's on. All the eyes are on me. Okay. Welcome, everyone. Hami Takyapi, Winuna Demie, Megan Imakiapie, Hutmaker Wichowanzi Keen Himantaha, Makado Himataha, Inawaye Keen Annette, Ichiapi Ate Waye Keen Mark Ichiapi, Dakota Iapi Keen Un Spamichichie, Pidamie. So, hello, my relatives. My name is Megan Hutmaker, and I serve as the Senior Director for Multicultural and American Indian Affairs. I'm glad to be here to welcome you all to our 2025 American Indian Night. We are so excited to be here together, enjoying our time to connect, to learn, and to share this delicious meal ahead of us. We're honored to be holding this event to celebrate and showcase our cultures and communities with you all in collaboration with our 2025 Indigenous Peoples Day Community Read. We have worked hard to create a great program and event for you all tonight, and I could not have done all of this work without the help of my amazing student leaders. So at this time, I would like to take a moment to invite the Executive Board and leadership of the Native American Student Association to come up and introduce themselves.
Ujuga Kinewia, Bungi to go and Doja Boy Mangaba Jutuna, Ubangika Kanaman. Winon Williams and Dishnakas. Nish is Hogan and Doja Ba, like the desert dash like the fine bush and Hardy one. Minoa Makwa and Dodim. Was walking the meeting gave be a gus. Minoaki and Danungum. And Dow Gakino Magan, Minnesota State, Kapeka and Da Sogamigung. And Dajikan American Indigenous Studies, Edash Nino Gamak Quaynasa. Nui Anishinaabe Mo Gakino Mage, Miss Comede Kwakido Young Migach. Hello everyone, I only speak a little bit of Ojibwe, but I'm going to use the little bit that I know. My name is Winona Williams. I come from two tribes, Lac des and Lac du Flambeau, and I'm Bear Clan. I am tribally enrolled member of the Lac du Flambeau Ojibwe Nation, but I grew up in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I'm a student here at Minnesota State Mankato, and I'm a senior majoring in Indigenous Studies. I'm also the president of the Native American Student Association, and I'm going to school to teach the Ojibwe language. That's all I want to say. Thank you all for being here.
Bujuga Kinowea, Bebe Khan Nanimishin, Gishpin Wanagijuayan, Ayasha Indigenous Cause, Ninanake Ogma and Clay and Down NASA, and Dajikan Psychology, Mukwan Dodem, Nijus Gonaganan and Donjaba, Lakir there, Edus, Waswaganing Ishinakadewan, Waswaganing, the bean the Gaby Guz, Minawaki Wishkunting the Tower get go, me ill, me gwitch bizendawi egg. Hello everyone, think kindly if I mispronounce my words. My name is Ayasha, I'm vice president of the Native American Student Association, and I'm majoring in psychology. I'm Bear Clan, and I come from two tribes, Lac des and Lac du Flambeau. I'm tribally enrolled in the Lac du Flambeau Ojibwe Nation, but I was raised in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. That is all. Thank you for listening to me.
I'm Petuashte, Sydney and Makiapie. Hello all, my name is Sydney Sistad. I am from the Sisseton Wahpeton, Dakota Oyate. I am a junior here at MNSU, and this is my third year as the secretary of the Native American Student Association. This is also my second year as the Multicultural Learning Community Coordinator. I'm from St. Paul, Minnesota, and I'm a first-generation student. I plan to major in Earth and Space Science teaching as I am passionate about educating the next generation of students. Thank you to everyone for being here today.
Hello, my name is Sabrina Vandenberg. I'm from Oak Grove, Minnesota, and I'm a proud member of the Shawnee Nation. I'm currently a third-year student at MSU, majoring in special education with a focus on academic and behavioral strategy, and I'm also a student member of NASA. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Samara Buchanan. I'm from Minneapolis, Minnesota. I'm a proud member of the White Earth Ojibwe Nation. I'm a junior here at MNSU, and this is my second year as the photographer for NASA, and my major is psychology.
Pretty short here. Mataki Yapi. We Chansaze, we Kanhadi, G. Chansa Yapi, Edward Tido. Hello, my relatives. My name is Jose Davila, son of Russell and Yolanda Pendleton. I grew up in the Lower Sioux Indian community, and I'm a member of Native American Student Association. I'm also a first year here at Mankato State University, and I'm also majoring in finance. Thank you for your time and for being here on this lovely night.
Hello, my name's Levi Bundy. I'm originally from Guatemala, but I was adopted when I was young and lived in Minnesota ever since. I am a freshman who's majoring in computer and information systems. I'm part of NASA.
Hanatakiapi, Oas Chante, Washtea Nape Cheyuzapiye, Chashayapi, Hemataha, Unkake Mitawa, Cheyenne St. John, Ka'a, Robert Kodak, Dakota Ina, Makia Ko'ui, and Makiapiye. Hello, my relatives. I greet you all with a good heart. I come from the place where they mark the trees red, Kablo Rasu. My parents are Cheyenne St. John and Robert Kodak. In English, they call me Eagle Woman Who Flies in the Mid-Sky, or Inez Kodak. I'm a first-year student at Mankato University, and my major is environmental science. I'm also a first-year NASA student. Thank you for your time.
Bujuka Kinaoia. Wawash Kashins Minawa Wagosh Niwinzo Inan Anishinaabe Mong. Riley Indigenous Kaz Jaganashi Mong. Gitcha Onugiming Indao Ojibwe Indao. Gakabakang Indonjaba Edash Ojaushko Kizibing Inda Nungam. Wawash Kashin Dodem. Apajit Nimin Wendan Anishinaabe Moyan. Indugadan Gender and Women's Studies. American Indian Affairs Graduate Assistant Indao. Miigwech Bizendoyeg, Edash Miigwecho Ininagog, Gedayam Oma. Hello everyone. Wawash Geshins and Wagosh are my Ojibwe names. Riley is what I'm called in English. I am Grand Portage Ojibwe, and Minneapolis is where I'm from, but Mankato is where I am nowadays. Deer is my clan, and I'm very happy to be Anishinaabe. I study criminal justice, and I am also studying a master's in gender and women's studies. I am the American Indian Affairs Graduate Assistant, and thank you all for listening to me, and I thank you all for being here. And then additionally, I also wanted to point out that in addition to our showcase, we also have the flags of the 11 tribes in Minnesota scattered around the wall. So, Miigwech, thank you.
We are so excited to see you all here tonight. I just wanted to give you a quick rundown of the event, which you can follow along in the programs in front of you. We have a couple of introductions, and then we'll have dinner. Enjoy the delicious meal prepared for you and conversations with others around your table. Towards the end of our dinner, we will have our keynote speaker and author, Dr. Anton Truer, join us on stage to share their address, which will be followed by a short Q&A and then a book signing outside of the ballroom at the conclusion of the event. Please also check out the student-curated display next to the stage that works to reclaim American Indian and Indigenous art and culture that has been co-opted by museums. But first, I would like to invite up our Vice President of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, Dr. Henry Morris, to the stage to share a few words of welcome with you all.
Thank you. I want to add my words of welcome to everybody in this ballroom. It's always great when we see the diversity of our community and our university, and we come together on nights like this to celebrate the things that make, I believe, this community, this university, and this nation a very special place. That's why it is challenging this time, and there are many people who are not as supportive of diversity, equity, inclusion. And so when we come together and we talk about and we celebrate and we talk about the strengths of why we are a better nation, because we come together in the history of our nation, I feel good. So thank you again for coming and showing your support. talk a little bit about the diversity, equity, inclusion, primarily Native American affairs, American Indian, and some of the people and groups they work with to make the year-long events to be successful. Tonight is celebrating American Indian culture and history, and our students and community currently serve about 190 American Indian students at MSU Mankato, and that number has been growing. The staff and Native American have gone out of the way to try to make this place a more inviting place for all people, but particularly for Native American. We do believe, as we're in the middle of Dakota Lakota land, we ought to have a vibrant Native American program here, and I think we still continue to strive at it, but we're getting better at it, and we have something to offer. This is the signature event of the year where we all come together for Native American month in November. This event has collaboratively featured the author from our community and from campus, Read, that was stated early in the semester and are connected to Indigenous Peoples Day. Star programs throughout the year include the Mankato Powwow, held every September. American Indian Affairs partner with the Education Day programming for District 77 sixth graders. Orange Shirt Day to honor and remember these children that never made it home from the boarding schools. MSU Mankato is proud to partner with the Indigenous Peoples Committee to present a week of community events celebrating Indigenous People Day on a citywide scale. American Indian Summer Camp held annually in June to help people better understand the Native younger peoples, primarily from high school, middle school kids, to learn more about the Native American culture and history, and for Native Indigenous high schools, middle schools, to learn more about their own culture also. So it's a dual effect. Students feel more comfortable on a college campus. And we have had, Megan, how many students have we had come here now from the summer camps? About 10 students who have come to us, through the camps to enroll at MSU. So we're proud of that. And they come from all parts of the country. I do want to do a special welcome and thank you and introductions of some of my colleagues. First by our president, Dr. Inch. His fiancee, Ms. Baleen Fernandez. Two of my colleagues on the President's Cabinet, Ann Gillespie, our VP of Finance. Dr. Brian Jones, our Acting VP of Student Affairs and Enrollment Management, right? So, again, I want to thank all of them for coming here. I want to thank, more importantly, for you showing up. Continue to be part of the movement that we need to continue to move forward, to show that we are truly a place of United States and united people and committed to moving forward and not going backwards. So thank you again for coming. Enjoy the rest of the evening. One last shout out. I do want to give us a special shout out to those students who crossed the stage today. It shows the connectedness, the beauty of our student leaders here. So can we just have another round of applause for them? And one last shout out, because she never likes to give herself shout outs, so I'll do it, is our Director of Native American Affairs and our Senior Director for the Multicultural Affairs, Ms. Hutmaker, who has been the director for quite a many years, and thank you for being all that you can be. Stick your head out. Don't have your hand up on you. So thank you. So I will turn it over to somebody who will follow me. Okay. Oh, I'm told to stay.
Thank you, Vice President Morris, for that welcome. At this time, we would like you to remain on stage and also invite Dr. Kelly on stage for a presentation of these gifts of recognition and appreciation for the Native American Student Association. Oh, okay.
This is truly the one is hardest thing to do, get her on stage.
Are our gifts that we're going to be giving them today. These star quilts, they're a symbol of honor and generosity, both of those receiving and those giving. It represents the morning star or the sky full of stars, but also has been said to be considered the creator's eye. So So when you are wrapped, you're covered and protected through life. Star quilts are usually given to do something extremely significant to honor someone. And that's what we like to do here today. All right, one more big loud one. Let's go.
Thank you again, Vice President Morris and Dr. Kelly Meyer, for your continued support throughout the years and being champions of diversity, equity, inclusion here at MSU Mankato. Now we must take a minute to honor those who have come before us and have given us the chance to celebrate Indigenous cultures in this space. Before we begin eating, we would like to express our appreciation for the elders and veterans in our community. Veterans are incredibly important to us as they are the warriors who have fought to ensure the safety of our future generations. This is important to remember as we just celebrated Veterans Day. So if there are any veterans in the room, please stand to be recognized. Thank you for everything that you do. And now please arise for our prayer for our meal.
Miigwech Adudukana ga ganoin a minagwa, wisnage ginoa, wa ananjage angamaga gijik. Thank you, spirit helpers that look after us, for you all partake in this food that we're about to eat here for all of this day. As in many American Indian traditions, we will be preparing a spirit plate so that our ancestors can join us in our meal. It will be placed outside. Once that is done, we will start dismissing tables to get food at the buffet set up on each side of the ballroom. Feel free to chat with each other, and we'll be back up here after everyone gets their food.
Bonjour, everyone. We'd like to start with our elders and veterans getting their plates first. And if any of you need assistance in getting a plate, please raise your hand or make yourself known. But then after that, we'll start dismissing tables. Miigwech, thank you.
We'll be right back after the meal session.
Buju. Buju Niji Bimadazig. Bangi etago ninatam ojibwe mosi. Ingi gakwejitunje ojibwe mon. Chelsea Mead Indigenous Cause Minowa Gichi Mukman Kwe Endao. Kalamazoo Anishinaabe Aking Indunjaba. Oma Nindonoki. Minowa Nimenwindam Ayayan Oma Nungam. Miigwech Meu. Hello, my fellow human beings. I only talk a little Ojibwe. I will try to use Ojibwe. My name is Chelsea Mead. I am a white person, and Decatur, Michigan is where I'm from, Ojibwe lands. I work here, and I'm glad to be here today with you. I hope you all are enjoying your wonderful meal. I teach American Indigenous Studies here at the university. And I also have the extreme privilege of serving as the faculty advisor for the Native American Student Association and getting to work with the wonderful students that introduced themselves to you earlier. It's truly my honor to introduce tonight's guest speaker, Dr. Anton Troyer. He is a professor of Ojibwe at Bemidji State University and the author of many books, including our common read, Everything You Wanted to Know About Indians But Were Afraid to Ask. He earned his PhD from the University of Minnesota and serves on the board of the Minnesota State Historical Society and the MacArthur Foundation Native Self-Determination Advisory Council. His work has been recognized with many prestigious awards and fellowships, and currently he is building a new Ojibwe teacher training program at Bemidji State University. I first met Anton as a doctoral student when I was doing research on the histories of universities who had created Indigenous language programs and fostered connections and support for Indigenous students. Little did I know that many years later, I would actually move to Minnesota and be teaching here. And after we established Dakota language programs on our campus and had offered Dakota language classes for several years, I reached out to Tony to see how we might support Ojibwe language learners as well. And he was gracious enough to work with me, and we created a partnership between our institutions to offer elementary Ojibwe classes. We have 2 of them here at MNSU. And this was before Zoom. This was back when we had to struggle to get the one classroom that had what was called ITV. There wasn't the ease of just clicking onto Zoom yet, if you can imagine. And now it's been 7 years since we started that partnership. We've had several students complete the Ojibwe language classes to fulfill their degrees, and the partnership continues. So if you're looking for classes next fall, I recommend Elementary Ojibwe 1 with the AIS program. We also have a number of other course options for you, whether you're an education major or you're going into law enforcement. There's always something in AIS for everyone to learn more. Anton, chi miigwech for your mentorship, for your generosity, and for encouraging all of us to engage in courageous conversations. Everyone, can you please help me welcome Dr. Anton Troyer.
Ahau miigwech. Koe maji tayan niwi Ojibwe majina wa windamunugu ge pichi miigwech wendaman inenimigwan bajayan. Wagosh indigu minawa migazi indodem kazaga squaji mekag indun jaba namanji dogish benisido tagwan Ojibwe muyan. Bungi. Shagana shimung. English 2. Okay. They asked me to come and share with you for a little while this evening. They didn't say anything at all about using a foreign language like English. I'm about to the point now where I have the president and deans at Bemidji State convinced that if someone calls and asks for the Department of Foreign Languages to send them to the English department, and if someone wants anything else, they can come see me. I am really excited and heartened to be in conversation with you all tonight. We're going to hold some of our time for fielding your questions. We had a great Q&A earlier today, and I recognize some of the faces who were present at that conversation as well. And I want to begin by just acknowledging that we're in a tough time. We're in a tough time in our country. We're in a tough time in the world on a whole variety of levels, from climate change to race relations to politics to adults who aren't really that good at adulting, all kinds of things. And it is easy to lose hope, and it is easy to step away. I mean, as a Native person, I got to say, there's enough going on just to keep you mad for the next 500 years. But the anger doesn't really provide the healing. There's no way to shame anyone into showing up differently. And as we try to tackle these challenges, I've also come to realize the importance of building bridges, forging relationships, taking the time and the effort to try to get, here's an Ojibwe metaphor, everybody into the canoe, sitting in the right spots, paddling together so we can actually go somewhere. And saying it's one thing, doing it's another. But I'll offer a few thoughts on that. I know there's a Community One read on everything you wanted to know about Indians, but we're afraid to ask, so I will offer you a few remarks about the book too, and do a little bit of get-to-know-you stuff along the way, not because it's the most important thing for you all to know, but just to frame the conversation part, because in the end, nobody sees the world the way that it is. We all see the world the way that we are, and we're all a little bit different. I was really excited to listen to the students using their indigenous languages to introduce themselves. It is such a great practice. You're doing great. I'm so proud of you. And some of them have been students of mine over the years through the Ojibwe program, and appreciate the personal relationship as well as the academic relationship, and seeing what you're going to do with your lives from here always fills me up. Every Native person I see stepping across the stage to get their diploma, I'm like, another victory over Andrew Jackson. Let's go! I too rely a lot on people smarter, older, and wiser than me who say when you meet someone new, share your native name. My native name is Wagush. Your clan. So in the Ojibwe culture, there's either a four-legged animal, a bird, or a fish. They double as a symbol for your family and a spiritual guide. So I'm from the Eagle clan, come from Leech Lake, and looking forward to tonight. There's the late, great Tom Stillday, who always entertained, informed, and persuaded me in so many different ways. He was from one res over from me at Red Lake, and he was the first person who had been named chaplain for the Minnesota State Senate who was not from a religion that came from across the ocean. Colonization is about taking one language, culture, religion, and using it to supplant the others. It has so often been about erasure. Tom was fun. That was him with his pipe opening up the state senate, and he would say, I'm praying for politicians. Boy, do they need it. And that was before even the stuff we've seen in recent years. We also had him at Bemidji State University's event like this, where we also honor our Native graduates at ours. And I was campaigning. I said, you should bring him in. He's got a PhD in the School of Life. He will have lots of great things to share with these students. They finally relented, and they brought him in. And then I had to pull Tom aside, who was so notoriously long-winded. And I said, Tom, have you ever seen a TED Talk? He said, nope. I said, oh, well, think 12 minutes, maybe 15, throw in a joke or two, focus on the students. We got a lot of awards to hand out, a lot of clapping. He said, I got it. Got up there, he spoke for an hour and a half straight. He did it all in our tribal language. And we was all done. He only said one thing in English. He said, all you people who study Indians, study that. And he went and sat down. So I thought he was awesome. He also had some good points. Most of the history books written about Native people were written by non-Native people who never talked to one or spent time in one of our places. And it might be historically significant what the Army officer wrote in his journal, but that's not Native history. That's a history of white folk when they meet Natives. But it's not just the history books. It's also the economic development plan, the suicide prevention plan, the substance abuse intervention plan, all these things, the school turnaround plan, where they're trying to use data-informed practices, and Natives are missing from the data sets, or at least the ones they're looking at to inform the practice, but we're well represented in some of the other ones. And so he was onto something. How do we get and how do we center Native perspectives, people, histories? It matters so much. I know right now there's all kinds of culture wars, there's all kinds of weird politics, and I think everybody, I mean truly everybody, the Democrats and Republicans, at least the ones cloaked in Minnesota nice, are terrified of saying anything for fear of getting beat up around the ears. It's hardly healthy. And we've got to find a way to push through that. I don't think it's just a blip, but I do think that our descendants will be looking back at how silly we were with our approach to things like diversity. In the Q&A earlier today, I was mentioning, like, if you're against diversity, you're against your grandkids. Because everybody's going to be bumping into one another, falling in love, making babies. It's a little ironic, but the more diverse we become, the more homogenous we'll be in the long run. We're only 2 decades away from the majority of the British population being people of color. That's Great Britain. Like, what could be whiter than that? Right? 30% of the German population is born somewhere other than Germany. And the majority of the kids, the majority of the documented kids in America are people of color. Regardless of Democrats, Republicans, immigration policy, walls, whatever, the diversity is here to stay. Got to figure out how to get along and build something together. And we should not have to pay attention to things like race, like humans made it up and we keep changing the definitions. Initially, the Irish were considered not white, which also usually a lot of people find humorous nowadays, but were treated as second-class citizens because they were not white enough. Then the definition of whiteness changed to include them, and then Italians were considered not white, passed a bunch of special laws to stop those not white people from coming here. And now we look at that and say, boy, that was silly. And right now, there is an obvious attention with regard to xenophobia and immigration policy on the Hispanic, Latino, Latina, Latinx, Latina population, which is actually a racially diverse population. It is. Anyone ever go to the Dominican Republic? Official language is Spanish. Population is predominantly black. Anyone ever go to Argentina? That country is whiter than America. Literally. Right? So we have these assumptions like south of the border equals brown, but it's pretty complex. And so all of it is so silly. We now actually did change that. And it made a big difference in the Native space too, because now you can like click more than one box in a census. 2010 census said there were 5 million Native Americans. 2020 census said there were 10 million Native Americans. And we didn't have that many babies that fast. By the way, the 2020 census happened in the middle of a global pandemic with a federal government trying to suppress minority counts. They will be shocked when we just added another 5 million Native Americans the next time they get around to doing a census. If you're running a university, you got to think about the future. And you do need to talk the talk and walk the walk in spite of all the pressure to shut you up. Because if you are not able to offer offerings that are exciting and engaging for diverse, minoritized students, then you have just written off 50% of your potential students. And when you look at the students that tend to go to the private schools versus the public schools, you'll be writing off an even higher percentage than that. So, you know, we're not just a diploma manufactory, but at the same time, you do need to pay attention to supply and demand. So, also, we just have to get through the things. What happens if you have an all-male gender equity team, and it doesn't matter how woke they are, you are missing some vital perspectives and the optics aren't so good. And if you have an all-white racial equity team, you have the same problem. After the murder of George Floyd, there was a significant increase in DEI positions and hires all across the country, largely in the corporate space. Since then, over half of the positions have been eliminated, and right now, 74% of DEI positions are staffed by white folk. So it's not like just Wagush, that's me, being funny. Like, it's a real thing. So we do need to figure out how to get along, how to build some bridges, and how to do the right things, because it is always the right time to do the right things. There's home for me, epicenter of the universe. Not everybody knows, but I'm on a mission to share. I get to live in my home community, which honestly is sometimes a struggle for a lot of Native people who enter the academic space, because a lot of the jobs and opportunities are somewhere else. I actually kind of sit on a three-legged stool, and one of the legs is just community cultural work. I officiate at naming ceremonies, traditional Ojibwe funerals, and everything else in between. All of that work is probably a third of my time, but it is uncompensated and in the traditions of our people. I spend about a third of my time doing my actual job, professor of Ojibwe at Bemidji State, and I spend about a third of my time writing books and speaking to diversity, equity, inclusion, tribal sovereignty, indigenous language revitalization. Keeps me pretty busy. They're like three strands of a braid. They all feed one another. But living in my home community has been so beautiful for me. I've been able to raise all of my kids, and there are 9 of them, by the way, with all of their grandparents within 10 minutes of the front door. And it would be impossible for me to be at the service of my community if I lived somewhere else. So, kind of like a wedding ring, that community connection is a tether, and it's liberating. And a lot of Native people struggle with this. Wanting, desiring, needing to have connection, belonging, and love with their own folk from their own place, on the one hand, and wanting to spread their wings and fly and pursue opportunity wherever it may take them on the other. So your Native population is complex. Half of the enrolled tribal citizenry lives off reservation. 70% of your self-identified Native population lives off reservation. You could even, in listening to the students, many had more than one tribe in their family tree. It's pretty common. And all of that is both beautiful and challenging. Native people have a high rate of marriage to people from outside groups, so the Native population is especially multiracial. Some of us look black, some of us look white, some of us look brown, and some of us are racially ambiguous. And so even though humans invented race, and it shouldn't matter, and we keep changing its definitions, race is a pretty good predictor of longevity, of who's matriculating to college, of who's stopping out and dropping out. So it's kind of like we do have to pay attention to this thing to get to the point where we don't have to pay attention to this thing. And as we do, we have to understand that it is constantly shifting and changing. Being Native is many things. It includes a distinct political identity. Being a citizen of a Native nation, or not, or the descendant of a Native nation citizen, or not. It's also a racial category that can affect how you are policed. It's not either or, it's yes and. And we are impacted by our color, by our culture, and by our consciousness and how we see ourselves. So even someone who doesn't look the stereotypical part may still experience marginalization based upon the conversations around them, the university culture, climate, and everything else. So there's a lot to think about as we get into a conversation. A couple folks in my family tree. This dude with the super ancient face, ironically got the name John Smith later in life. No connection to the one from Pocahontas mythology. Yeah, he was born in the late 1700s and he died in 1922. He lived in parts of 3 centuries. The world record holder for human longevity is a woman from France who made it to 122 years. John Smith would have eclipsed her record had his birth records been captured in a colonial system. Dude had to know something. Dude must have seen a lot. He was in Minnesota when it was all Native, and he was there when the soldiers are coming back from World War I, including the Native soldiers, like my namesake, Clement Bolio. And so I always marveled, like, whoa. I think everybody wants their kids to have a chance at a long, healthy, happy life. Like, this dude knew something about longevity, and it was more than just eat right and exercise, although you can't put a price on that. When you look at, like, the big Harvard longitudinal study on human happiness, where they're checking in with a person every single year, doing, taking all this health data, doing interviews, you get a different perspective than when you ask someone who made it to 100, tell me about how you got here, than you do checking in every year. And between that study, and I just read the book about Outliers, which was really, really a contrarian and wonderful book. I learned a lot from that one. And the Outlive book on human longevity, they're all starting to catch up with John Smith and a lot of our other elders when they speak to the importance of relational health for longevity. That it is the quality of your relationships. That could be with a spouse, could be with kids, could be with parents and grandparents, your neighbors, your friends, your ceremony buddies, whatever. That the quality of relationships pays longevity dividends. And the absence of quality relationships, taxes, not just mental health, but physical health and longevity. And the data supports that. Another really good reason to figure out how to get along when you're always going to have neighbors, coworkers, and fellow citizens from all kinds of different backgrounds. It's actually critical to our longevity, not just being nice. And that is tough. It has always been tough for Native people to figure out how to get along with people they didn't invite here, who came to take so much in so many cruel ways. But we do need to figure out how to muster the grace and do exactly that. It might be tough for some white folk to get used to being another minority in this big, beautiful country. But that is an unavoidable future, and it's not the end of the world. There's more to say about John Smith. Next to him, Wabujig was kind of a famous warrior in the Ojibwe world. These are folks in my family tree, and I was thinking about it when I was going to school, that I could go to school for 13 years in a row, K-12, to learn whatever I needed to be successful in the world, and none of it had anything to do with me. It was kind of like there was a message being delivered by kind, good-hearted people taking a humble wage to do one of the most important jobs on planet Earth. And the message was screaming at me, not through a mean-spirited action, but just through the absent narratives. And the absent narratives were screaming that you and yours aren't important, aren't relevant, don't matter. Because if we were important or relevant or mattered, somebody would have said something in 13 years of an education. So diversifying our curriculum and our teaching team and our events and relationships is so critically important. It's not just a gift for the minoritized or disadvantaged, although it helps them. It is a gift for the white folk too, to figure out how to get along in this world whose future we can only imagine, but we know will be a very diverse place. We all need the gift. And so there's plenty of room to work and lots of stuff to do. I also feel like if you move to Germany, you should try to learn a little German, even though they all speak English better than anyone in the United States. Truly. I think you should try to learn something about German history and culture if you decide to move there. So you are on Dakota land right now. It is an honor and a privilege. You should learn something about Dakota people and their history and their culture and their language. And doing so is not just a way to say, I respect you, in spite of all the disrespectful things that have been done to you. This is how I will differentiate myself from that history, even if I have benefited from that history. Look at my 3-bedroom house on Dakota land. It's also a way for you to practice humanity. And we're all humans, so we should practice humanity. I mentioned to folks earlier today, and it bears a little repeating, that all these things that everybody actually well agree on, like wanting longevity, wanting happiness, stuff like that, it is all practice. It is all practice. And I might be in your way. And so, like, if you want to be healthy, it's not a one and done. You finally get to that destination and you're healthy. Hooray, I made it. Because then there's tomorrow. And there's more cheesecake. You can't get all your workouts in for your whole life in one trip to the gym. And it would be nice to get it all done and then workouts are done for life. I'm good. But you got to keep going. And if you want to live, embrace the practice with sleep, with food, with exercise, and it will pay you the dividends. If you want to be happy, you don't just put a wedding ring on your finger and say happily ever after and then you're there. Congratulations. I'm not just talking about divorce rates. All a wedding ring is a promise to practice at happiness with your person, and some days are better than others. But if you keep practicing, well, you do become happier. So keep practicing. And it's like that with reconciling this troubled nation. It's all practice. There's no one and done. We should do the reparations. We should do a Truth and Reconciliation Commission. But if you do the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, and even if it takes you 20 years to finish it up, we will not be fully reconciled. We will have had an opportunity to more deeply practice reconciliation, and it will get us somewhere, but not to the end, any more than another trip to the gym gets you to the end. Same thing with the reparations or anything else. It will not undo all the historical traumas and their epigenetic imprints rippling through the generations. It will be an opportunity to practice at a new way of being. We need the practice. We should do the things. But it is practice. And it is worth mentioning that what makes it hard to practice for some people is different from what makes it hard to practice for other people. I don't want to make any kind of generalizations, but one thing I have noticed is that I think a lot of white folk sometimes struggle with feelings of fear. Fear of offending someone, fear of exposing an ignorance, fear of getting beat up around the ears for the sins of one's ancestors. And sometimes the fear has us leaning out. Like, ooh, that's a tough topic. Where's that Megan Hutmeyer? Why don't we send it to her and see if she can deal with that one? Which is a disengagement strategy. Not that being the expert that she is, she won't have something to contribute to the conversation. And we have a lot of different ways of leaning out. Like I'll show up and I'm going to be nice and I'm going to shake hands and I'll get my takeaway and then I'm right back to my silo. It's kind of like, I guess the other thing that happens sometimes is that I think if you're a monolingual English speaker and you happen to be white and you've done some traveling, you're going to be accommodated and it won't even feel like an accommodation, but it's there. Someone will speak to you in English across most of planet Earth. You could own a house in Costa Rica, do the whole real estate transaction, have a staff. They'll all speak to you in English, even though the official language is Spanish. And two things happen. There's a certain musculature that gets exercised with some types of discomfort that doesn't get exercised enough, and it atrophies. And then also we acclimate to our level of accommodation. I think most Americans of every single racial group will expect to eat every day and will feel very uncomfortable if that is not possible, except by voluntary choice. Right? We're all privileged in that regard. And it's hard to see it when you're in it, that being an American is a true and genuine privilege. It is. You might not feel safe looking at your TV, but you are safer than most every other country on the planet, which is wild. And so, it's kind of like, I think, some folks have been skipping leg day for life. And now Wagosh is here, and he wants you to go to the gym and do body squats. Let's talk about race. And that does not sound good. That sounds not good. And so we're leaning out. We're filling up Megan's inbox. And when someone else is doing your workouts for you, they get stronger and you atrophy. So the message there is, do not skip leg day. Don't skip leg day. It's good for you. And the funniest thing happens, like I have to be honest, I cannot promise you that leg day is always going to feel good, especially when you're getting started, because there are 330 million people in America and someone will go sideways sometimes. They're going to blow up in your face or something like that. I can't protect you from that. But if you start going to leg day, you will acclimate to that and it will start to feel good. In fact, it'll feel so good that if you skip leg day, you're going to miss it and you won't be able to wait till you get back to the gym. And then something else starts to happen. You start to get stronger and you're ready to do your part of the lift. I think for Indigenous folk and everyone else in the BIPOC community, we sometimes have some other barriers. They include anger, frustration and exhaustion. Like, do I really have to explain it again? Is it that hard to understand? Do I really have to wait patiently again when we don't get to live as long? How long do I have to patiently wait with my diminished longevity before everybody else shows up? And so there the answer is, take a deep breath and explain it again. We got to go to leg day 2. Not just attend to our workout. Sometimes we got to spot other people. That doesn't mean we do their workout for them. That doesn't mean we coddle everyone's discomfort with all of this stuff. But it means that we too need to do our part of the lift. And as we do, it's not an individual activity. It is a group activity. And we're all starting in different places with different strengths, with different vulnerabilities and experience. And so you have to do your workout with sensitivity to everyone else's too. And as you do, that means sometimes you got to spot others, sometimes you got to call for a spot, and you got to keep coming. So keep coming. The only way through all this stuff is together. All right, back to task. And where is Megan? How badly shall I blow your agenda? A few more minutes? Okay. Very quickly. There's a picture of my dad, who is not native at all. He was an Austrian Jewish immigrant and a survivor of the Nazi Holocaust. They killed his whole family, except for 3 people. It was pretty bad. He made it out of there at age 13, made it to America at age 14, lied about his age at age 17, signed up for the U.S. Army. World War II was still going, and I think he wanted to kill Nazis, but they sent him to the Pacific Theater, stationed in the Philippines. Eventually, he made his way to Minnesota. He met my mom, and here I am. My mom grew up in a little village called Bena, heart of the Leech Lake Reservation. Population 400. Half of them are my cousins. No exaggeration. And she was born in the Cass Lake Indian Hospital on the res. You almost have to try to do this. She spent her first 18 years on the res. Like, not even big trips away. There are 10,000 enrolled tribal members at Leech Lake, and her whole childhood she met one professional Native person ever. Out of 10,000 people, they couldn't find one of us to be the banker, or the police officer, or the social worker, or the teacher. And it wasn't because none of us wanted a job like that. It wasn't because none of us were capable of doing a job like that. It's because even there, in the heart of a large reservation with a large Native population, the systems were that successful at excluding Indigenous people from gainful employment and upward mobility. By the way, we're making progress, but it is evolving rather than thoroughly evolved. Most of our systems there, including K-12 space and lots of other professional spaces, are predominantly and sometimes exclusively white. It would be super kind to say lots of room to grow. The one person she met was the school nurse. So she thought, maybe I could do that. And she finished high school. She went to nursing school. She got a nursing degree, came back to work for the tribe's health program. And she thought, wow, even here we're getting pushed around. Enough of that. She went back to school and she got a law degree. She was the first female Native attorney in the state of Minnesota. When I was a kid, she brought me with her to court and she'd say, you sit there, don't say a word. I'd sit there, I didn't say a word. Couldn't remember her court cases. But I remember things. I remember that she was the only woman in court. I remember that she and her law partner, Paul Day, were the only natives in court. And I came walking out of there thinking, you know what? We can do stuff. That is the D in the DEI. Diversity, representation, role models, And it matters. It matters so much. My mom was so dang smart. She could have been anything, anything. She could imagine herself being the one thing she saw another Native person do. For the Native folks who are working here, for the Native folks from the community who are showing up to work and in your spaces, and for the Native students who are here navigating the gates and gaps. You may not know this, but you may be the one person who makes all the difference in the world for another one. You are representing, you are an ambassador for your people. Your efforts are seen, and they make a huge difference. We just had the retirement celebration for Paul Day. They asked me to speak, and I had to say, you were the first Native man I ever saw doing something professional. But in the room with us were 300 Native American judges, lawyers, social workers, and educators. I said, look how far we've come. Think how much further we have to go, and think of the difference even one person can make. You already are the person, and you will be throughout life. It's a blessing and an honor. As you represent, do it well. All right, I'm going to skip a couple of these. I like this Abigail Echo Hawk quote. You know, we're not a historically underserved population. My history is one of ancestors who survived so I could thrive. My history didn't start with Western civilization. I am colonially underserved, I am institutionally underserved, and I am historically resilient. In other words, we were well served by our ancestors. It's just the rest of the systems that have given us such a hard time. All right, gotta skip those are pictures of me as a tyke. There's my mom. There's my crew, 9 kids. Some of them are married. We got 5 grandkids. It's never dull. We are not a nation of immigrants. We're a nation with immigrants. Also with indigenous people and with enslaved Africans. We're also with a lot of other things, indentured servants from Ireland. The point is, we're not any one thing. We are many things. One little vocabulary shift can make a big difference. All right. Did you want me to field some questions? Or did you need to get on with the show? We're just going to get on with the show. In which case, I'm going to give you a little something to tidy up here. That's a view of our family property. I kind of feel like Shrek. That's my swamp. Among other things, when my folks were getting started, they had acquired a piece of property, and it didn't look like this when they started. It actually looked like this. A little more like Mankato, but that's my dad on the tractor there with my brother, and they're planting trees. And they planted all of the trees in this picture, and it completely transformed the entire landscape and the ecosystem. There's just a couple of people. Of course, they had a child labor force. But what a change. I step out the door to my house every day and I see this towering forest. And it is mind-blowing to me. I don't know if I have an extra pick in here. Nope. I look at and think about, and a lot of us do, the problems in the world, climate change, race relations, all these things. And it's easy to look at this mountain of problems that human beings have been building for thousands of years and think, oh, there's not much I can do about that. I'll try to be a decent human. I'll tell my kids to be decent humans, and I hope it's enough. And it never feels like enough. All that's necessary for evil to triumph is good people to do nothing or too little. But it's not like we need to move this mountain of problems the whole world's been making for thousands of years and move it all right now. It's more like we need to keep planting the seeds, and it can change everything. That is the work. That is the work in education, in our health professions. That is the work when you have a courageous conversation with your neighbor. That is the work when we address diversity, equity, and inclusion. It is noble work. I believe in the work. And I also believe in all of you to shoulder the work, not to skip leg day, and to join together and do some real lifting. And it really will make the world a better place. With that, I want to say thank you for your kind time and attention. You've been wonderful, and thank you for all the hospitality. Chimigwech. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, can we get one more round of applause for Dr. Troyer? Before we leave, we'd like to extend a few thank yous for making this event a success. First and foremost, a big thank you to Vice President Morris and the DEI staff. We'd also like to recognize and thank everyone who helped us set up, and for the leaders in NASA and American Indian Affairs for their hard work in organizing this event. Also, thank you to everyone who reserved a table and supported this event, including our Indigenous community leaders in the Mankato Wachipi Committee, the Indigenous Peoples Day Committee, and Lakota Maid. Don't forget to take home the gifts of tea and honey that are each of your tables. Our students have been working hard creating those gifts for you to remember this night, so please take those with you. And also, if you'd like to get a copy of your book signed or get a book from Dr. Troyer, he'll be outside of the ballroom to do that. So thank you all so much, and safe travels.